lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of the
Morning, ladies.
Let us march on. Let us march on. Let us march on till victory. Let us march on. Is won.
Conversation, but that is what I love about the Satcher Health Leadership Institute. It is not afraid to have real conversations. And that is because we first learned many, many years ago through our leader, Dr. Satcher, that in order to have real conversations, you have to bring everybody to the table. Even people you don't like, even people you don't agree with, even people who don't look like you or think like you, because we all can continue to learn from one another. Everybody has a perspective, and if we're going to solve these problems, then all perspectives have to be put on the table. And people have to feel comfortable and included in their voices being heard so that we can craft out the solution. As a mother of a black male, I fear every day what may happen. I fear every day for my daughter who gets up in the middle of the night going into the hospital to do her vascular surgery work. I worry if they are going to be or come into contact with someone with a gun when they're out trying to do just their daily routines. We should not have the stress of worrying about the safety of our children, of our loved ones who go about their daily activities and may come into contact with gun violence. So I am excited about this symposium, not because it's a symposium, but because I hope that it is a call for action, a call to action. I am equally excited to introduce my colleague.
To CDC as the first African-American director of CDC. And if you don't really know David Satcher, I'll just say a few words. David Satcher embodies love. I had a friend who died recently named Paul Farmer, who was a giant in the area of global health. And Paul Farmer told me, he taught at Harvard, and he said if he ever mentioned the word love at Harvard, where science is worship, he could be fired. He said, Harvard has declared love a 4-letter word. And if you think it was easy for David Satcher to bring the notion of love into this bureaucratic HHS agency, it was not. It was not easy, but he really transformed that place, and then went to Washington, where he transformed the office of the Surgeon General. And it has been my privilege to know and to work for David Satcher, a privilege of my life. David, thank you for everything, and thank you for who you are.
Well, greetings.
Greetings.
I want to begin by saying how very pleased and proud we are to have, as president of Morehouse School of Medicine, Dr. Valerie Montgomery Rice, and our appreciation for all of her contributions today. I'm going to do something that I may be the only one here old enough to do, and that is, I think Martin Luther King Jr. laid a foundation for our commitment to end violence. The whole idea of nonviolence for Martin Luther King Jr. was not to sit on the side of the highway and wish that things go well, but to do whatever needed to be done to help create a better world. So he spent a lot of time in jail in Montgomery, where I first, of course, heard of him. I was a junior high school student when he went to jail first in Montgomery. And from that time on, coming to Atlanta and to Morehouse and going to jail and to prison with him and his brother, A.D. King, I learned the true meaning of nonviolence. And that basic to nonviolence is the kind of love and courage and confidence that we need more of. So today, as we gather here and reflect on the life and works of Tommy Dosh and others, we have to remember that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. laid the foundation for the kind of nonviolence that we're looking forward to, and we can only have nonviolence if we declare that violence is not the answer to our problems. We can win the war and lose the battle, or win the battle and lose the war if we rely upon violence to solve our problems. It doesn't mean that we're gonna accept things as they are. It doesn't mean that. It means that we are going to be committed to the kind of activity that will lead to a better world, and we're going to be willing to give what it takes to help create that world. So what I'm increasingly concerned about is that when we talk about violence prevention, we forget that a commitment to nonviolence is probably the most critical strategy for violence prevention. So we have to stay the course. That's not easy, let me tell you. I mean, I grew up in Alabama, and it's cotton
Out of
field.
business. Cancer. We have cures for cancer and treatments for cancer that we couldn't imagine. President Carter had melanoma that was metastatic to his brain, and he was treated with immunotherapy, a total cure, totally cured, a disease that would have been fatal. So cancer, heart disease, smallpox, measles, polio, science has done extraordinary jobs. We've saved millions and millions of lives around the world from tobacco-related diseases. And so the idea that science can get us out of this is not a strange idea, but we are in a position where we have so many deaths. Okay, how about starting at the beginning? Okay. Do you have a lavalier microphone? Do you have a microphone I can pin on? Because I can't see the slides. We'll work it out. We'll work it out. So the name that I gave to this is this high conflict is government and some of the problems of bureaucracy. It can be slow to move, but you have an extraordinary resource in CDC and a lot of very, very committed people who can solve this problem, who are deeply committed to solving this problem, if only the government would let them. So he said, let's start looking at violence as a public health problem. This was in 1983. And the public health approach has 3 pillars. The first is it's based on science. We want evidence. This is a cause.
The next day, and you like just talk to him the next day, Toledo. Is that not right? It's like it just. Okay. I know. I just trying to find the right words for it. It deeply upsets me. The trauma we've endured as Black people for over a century and more is disgusting. It's like, I'm gonna go back. Growing up, right, my brother Kamari, he had a best friend. His name was Jelani. Jelani, he was always there for Kamari. That was his number one guy. And Jelani's dead. He died in 2018 or 2017. I can't remember the exact date. But I remember when I found out when Jelani was dead, I couldn't even begin to think what my brother was feeling, Kamari. Like, losing your best friend at such a young age. Kamari was about, 11th grade? I'm in 10th grade. I couldn't even begin to imagine losing one of my brothers that I've known since, I don't know, I was yee-high. And like that, when he lost his best friend, that affected me of the way that he felt. My brother, he's like, when he walks into a room, he can control the whole environment. And based on how he feels, that would determine how the room felt. And when his best friend died, I knew something had changed in him. He'd never be the same almost grown man that he was, the day before he died. And I can sense the alterations of how he felt. It was just a whole different Kamari from the one I knew before Jelani died. And that just really upsets me because I could never imagine losing one of my best friends, and that's my brother. And I would do anything for him. Thank you.
I think what this communicates for all of us is that, sometimes when we do events like this, this is a symposium, and, we go to school, we attend classes, we have church meetings, mosques, whatever it may be. We talk about things and they feel abstract. They feel like concepts. We talk about theories of how gun violence affects us, but you hear stories like that, and you see how personal it is. That it is unacceptable, that every single one of us are connected to someone who has been murdered or know of someone who's been murdered due to gun violence. And so that was an exceptional testimony. We appreciate your bravery and your courage that you displayed in sharing your story, and to all of the young people who are up here who have shared their part of the story. All that is necessary because that is why we are here and doing the work that we're doing today. But the question I want to open up.
Like my mom got shot 5 times. That's my truth. I got shot at the age of 15. That's my truth. But I don't expect for one of these young guys to actually go and try to live my life. It was just me speaking my truth. And to answer the question even more, I do feel as if we have a duty to actually paint good pictures in hip hop. You know what I mean? Just as well as tell our truth. So when I do make music now, I do try to curb it to where, this kid might be listening to it in this kind of way, so let me put a message at the end of it. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to hold back what's true about what I've seen and where I live at and what I saw. And sometimes I grab stories from people that's around me that's also true. So when I speak these truths, it's not so much as I want this to be somebody else's reality. I'm just telling you what I saw. So it has a positive and a negative.
Walks up and he asks her what was wrong with her. Well, the connection between the principal and Kanisha was that he was her elementary school teacher or school principal also. So she felt comfortable with talking to him, although she hadn't seen him in years. He at the time is now her high school principal. And Kanisha was expressing to Mr. Clark that it was some issues going on. So what Mr. Clark did was he went inside the office, he told Ms. Devias, contact Kanisha's mom, we need to go talk to the mom. They get to the house, Ms. Devias and Joe Clark were sitting on the sofa and they said to the mom, they asked what was happening. Because the mom was an advocate of the child when she was in elementary school. And so they asked, what can we do to help? Can I put you in a better apartment? Can I help you get a better job? Because your child can't lose you. The child needs the parent, right?